of rain today, and tomorrow, more likely. But for now, it's partly cloudy skies in Port Harcourt. If there are updates, as always, you get to find out, particularly when you see. I like the weather. Shout out to Nimet, by the way. I really like weather. Maybe I should have been a meteorologist. Aha! Speaking of meteorologist, I'd like to start practice on Hello Port Harcourt today. And that practice is the word for today. So my plan, and please you can send me a comment about this during the course of the show or maybe at the end of the show. I plan to share a word with you every single day, a new word every single day. The aim is to, one, improve vocabulary, and two, maybe just remind you how the word is spelled, because I have realized that even in my own personal space, sometimes I forget how to spell a particular word. I'm like, how do I so I've been challenging myself, right, particularly in the past month, to not use Google or use autocorrect to help my spelling when I text people. So I have not been doing that in the past month. It's not been easy. I will not deny it. It's not been easy. But here, so every day we'll be dropping a word for day. I'll try to get a new word that doesn't have to sound so out of the ordinary, but something that I believe you can use, or maybe a word that you probably didn't even know meant this particular thing. All right. So today's word is nonplussed. Nonplussed. Some say nonplussed, right? Nonplussed. Spelled NONPLUSSED. That's NON, nonplussed or nonplussed, right? NONPLUSSED, nonplussed, right? It means a person who's surprised, confused, so much that they don't know how to react. That usually happens, when you come into a tight, or maybe you experience something that you never experienced before. Like, say, you walk on the road, and then a beautiful girl just says, "Get off from there, you smelling boy." You're like, what did I do? Kilo day. You're confused, you're surprised. You don't know how to react. That experience is being in the state of, or you are at that point nonplussed. You are confused. You're surprised. All right. So that's the word for today. But our conversation for today, however, is a heavy one, because it has to do with poverty. Now, this morning, I'm going to share with you 1 minute or so, a minute and 10 seconds a clip. Right, it's from a pastor, Pastor Sam Adeyemi. He had an interview, and he made reference to that interview, and that's what I'm going to share with you this morning. It's about the culture of poverty. Now, when I heard this, I had to Google this up, because this sounds too serious to just wave as maybe a simple connotation. It is actually a theory. Yes, there is a theory of the culture of poverty. It is a concept popularized by the anthropologist Oscar Lewis in the 1960s in his best-selling ethnographic realistic book on family life among the urban poor. Urban poor, that's people who live in urban areas who are poor. Right? Now, what this theory basically says is that people who are poor tend to have the propensity to make other people poor. I'm summarizing, right? I'm summarizing. And sometimes, if there is no adequate government intervention, this can continue for generations. But before we delve too far in, let me share with you this video, all right? So that you take a listen, and then we'll start our conversations, and everybody can jump in and share their views on this theory this morning. The culture of poverty. Take a listen, please.
We have cultural taste for poverty. Really, it is the poverty that we have taste for more than the prosperity. I attended an interview on Channels Television some days back. Just before we started the discussion, they played this video of some young people in this country that wrote exams recently. They had to write the exams into the night. And in that video, you saw those young people holding candles and torchlights to write the exam. I said on TV that if it was elsewhere, that was enough to ground this country. If we understood the implications, because what goes into a mind comes out in a life. I said, you want to see what our country will look like in 20, 30 years' time? That's it. Because that is what is going inside these kids. If that is what is normal for them, that's what's going to be normal. So you wonder why somebody becomes a senator or becomes a governor and does not have empathy for poor people. That's why. If that was normal for me, why should it not be normal for you? Now that I have breakthrough, that's my breakthrough. God will do your own. That's the attitude in this country, right? Cultural taste for mediocrity. There is power called for long hours. And then all of a sudden, the power comes back and everybody shouts, up NEPA. And then, they supply the power for like 10 hours. And it's like, wow, they're really trying to supply darkness. I could go on and on. There are different areas like that where I see the cultural taste that poverty, underdevelopment has produced in us. I noticed something though. The person God would use to deliver Israel from Egypt and to take them to the promised land. You know what God did? He did not allow him to grow in the slave camp. He organized for him to grow up in Pharaoh's palace. The person that will lead us out of the mediocrity cannot be the one that is saying up NEPA because they brought power. It is the person that cannot take it, that thinks it's not normal. So God put him in a different environment so he could have a different cultural taste.
Did you hear that? A cultural taste. You see, the theory suggests that poverty is perpetuated by a distinct set of values, attitudes, behavior, sometimes even genetics that are transmitted across generations between impoverished communities. It's a very, very disturbing trend. But when I read a little bit about it, I opposed it. But here are some of the posits. Now, the theory says that these cultural traits, such as fatalism, a lack of long-term planning, the need for immediate gratification, often hinders the individual's ability to escape poverty. Now, let me explain the first two. We see in a lot of communities in the Niger Delta a fatalistic mentality. Oh, now so we do. It all spoil. Government don't forget us. See us we there and nothing they happen. Nothing. Our government, we know they see them. And so we just did. Our school don't spoil since 1985. They never fixed her. The Ubimi community, no hospital for years now. We know our wives, when they were born, they go to their village. There's a fatalistic mentality. There's a lack of long-term planning. And then when leaders come through, it's about immediate solutions for their immediate problems. Waiting we want chop. But I fault the theory, and some people have been doing so for years, because the theory oversimplifies how society really works. So you have poor people giving birth to poor people, and these poor people having grandchildren who remain poor. But we've seen that that's not always the case. It's not always an intergenerational case of transmitting poverty. But if you look at Nigeria right now, there's a very clear sense and taste for mediocrity. You don't want good leaders. Most of you don't. You want your cousin or your brothers to get there so that you too can benefit. But there are certain sectors, interestingly, in your commissioners, in your governors, in your PEMSEC, in your deputy governors, your chief judges and your justices, in their own private businesses, guess what they do? They intentionally put the right people so that they continuously make money. They do so. And then there is an acceptance. There's an acceptance of the state you are in that is very common, quote unquote, amongst the poor communities. Come Babylon. When you hear Babylon in Port Harcourt, you should know where I'm referring to. Come Babylon. Come see what they happen. Come this place. And so we just there, they suffer for this place. All mad. I just carry my boys. We'll go rag this place. Go rag this. And sometimes when you look at these people, you ask, can't you think for yourself? But you see, This theory is blaming the victim, whereas the people that actually should be held more responsible are those who have gotten out of poverty and seen the light. Those of you who have traveled abroad, your governors who are always going for one meeting, left, right, and center to bring foreign direct investment. And so they oversimplify it. And we will do this, we'll copy this, we'll do this, we'll copy that. Like Sam says, they now see it as, I trekked for 6 miles to go to school. We've been hearing that story since 1985. So when children are trekking to school, the governor, the deputy governor, the commissioners for transport, the commissioners for education, they are not bothered. Why? Because they too trekked. And it's normal. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My question for you, should you choose to accept it, is this. If this government or any government that comes through starts to build good schools, hospitals, would that help in removing us from the culture of poverty? Or do we start to work with their minds? And how do we change their minds to move away from poverty? Is it the buildings? Is it the schools and hospitals that will bring people out of poverty? Or is it, I don't know, do we gather them and change them? How do we do it?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
Hello, Port Harcourt, with Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
017-923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. WhatsApp is 0809 030 6416. Do you agree with Sam Adeyemi that there's a culture of poverty? I don't exactly agree. But if there is, how do we reverse the trend? 92.3, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Good morning, my brother Jude.
Good morning. Welcome, please.
Chinke Daniele Mogeto Zako.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Have you no fear for atomic energy? None but ourselves can free our mind. You know where I'm going. You know this song?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, my brother. You see, I, Chinke Daniele, here in Imo Gate. This that we call democratic governance is not helping us as Africans, as Nigerians. Yes. Our colonial masters told us that when they were leaving us in 1960, they told us that our own people will not only colonize us, that they will also enslave us. How to free ourselves? We see some people gathering themselves in Abuja, in Umuahia, here in Abia State, to our local governments. All they know is about themselves. Okay, for instance, consultancy project, after collecting newspaper allowance, all the rest of them that amount to 1 million every day, the consultancy allowance, what is brought to my community here in Ozark. And we shout, whoa to them, APC, PDP. It is only us that can enslave and that will free our mind. I don't know if you understand where I'm going.
So,
I am APC, I am PDP. Ordinary people, what are you benefiting? You don't have electricity. Industries are not built.
So this first and foremost, you sound like you believe that there is a culture of poverty. So how do we reverse it?
How do we reverse it? Is that this that I am telling you? Let us not begin to shout at APC, PDP, and these people are the people that have gathered themselves, eating our money, paying for
Okay.
Let us tell them. Let us change the system.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. 90.3 Nigerian for good morning to you, please.
Good morning, Jude, once more.
Good morning.
Ezekiel, calling from Ubumi.
Welcome, Ezekiel.
Jude, are you aware that when the politicians try to at least fight one project in our community, we celebrate them? Especially when they will try to finish the project and commission it, you will see some of our leaders buying goats, cows, native cows, to give them as a token, to give them as a kind of celebrating their gesture, as if it is the politicians' money, without considering our effort, without considering our wealth in the zone. I don't know if you're getting me, Mr. Jude.
Okay.
So until we understand that the things the politicians are giving to us is our own and not their own, they are only our servants. We take them there to bring in our development that we needed. It's just like when we apply for an employment in a particular company, does it mean that when they employ us, they will also celebrate us? I don't know if you understand me.
I totally do. I think I do. But let's get back to you after the break.
You are tuned in.
And our conversation this morning, the final one, is about the culture of poverty. You can also add the culture of mediocrity to this, because on several conversations across the board in the past, decade or more, poverty and as well as mediocrity have been mentioned side by side on these conversations. Many have said we like in this country people who are not astute. We like to put asabi, paddy government. I mean, there's some songs like that, right? Yes. I'm juggling your memory now, right? Okay, fair enough. But if this theory, and once again, the theory has been debated on since the 60s and 70s up until today, right? It does help to understand the way certain communities operate, because in almost every big city, in almost every country, you have the impoverished area. In the US, for example, there's a staggering number of homeless people in some parts of New York, Atlanta, and indeed in Houston, Texas. Housing deficit is a big problem over there as it is here, but it's not often pushed on the limelight as ours is. But in all of these communities, whether it's in the creeks, whether it is in the slums in Lagos or the hood in New York, certain traits are similar in the urban poor. But is it their mentality that is the problem, or is it those in government, the structures? So once again, do we need more schools, more buildings, or do we need a mind shift? And how is this mind shift going to come for us to change and reverse the effect of the culture of poverty?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
So 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. Those are the numbers you can use. Call us and have a conversation with us this morning. Permit me to repeat, 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0003. Our WhatsApp and Telegram number is 0809-030-6416. The WhatsApp and Telegram number is strictly for the reception of WhatsApp messages, please. To the phone lines now. 92.3, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Mr. Zion from Port Harcourt, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I want to disagree with the pastor's clip he just played. I disagree with him, and I want him to withdraw that message with immediate alacrity. I want him to go back and apologize for bringing out such a message. And it's so unfortunate. So unfortunate. Can you see that they are now blaming the gullibles now? And I hope the gullibles can hear that they are blaming them. What is the culture of poverty if it was not promulgated by minority few or by the few criminal-minded? Tell me one church you know that is not funded by the money of the members. Tell me one church. One church that tithes and offering were used according to the scripture. Pastor never touched them. The church building was pastor's money. He sweat everything from A to Z. Mention one church for me. The number one problem we have in this our environment is the church. The church is so criminally arranged to a point that they hide their evil acts and nobody sees it.
All right, so Mr. Zion, so let's not veer too much before you go on a rant.
I'm not veering. I know the truth is very bitter.
I have no qualms to the truth. Did you take the time to look at the culture of poverty theory?
If you did not bring him into that point, if the money he has collected from the church He has given us a standard education. All the people who are weak, he has made them great to be solid. None of us will be depending on politicians and
Did you listen to his comment very carefully? He directly finger pointed those who managed the helms and said if it was a good place, this country should have shut down and people would have been questioned.
Those people he is accusing, if they were educated enough, will they do that? This morning I told you something about accountability. How many of us can have the mind and integrity to ask for the accountability?
Which is what he basically said. Those governors, those DGs who are responsible for the education sector, they should be held accountable for that.
We have trained our people to a point that they don't have conscience. Give them money to go and give Jude 10,000, my brother. They will pocket 9,000 and give you 1,000. What caused it? The foundation of which we raise these people. So why don't we go back and correct it?
Okay, so how do we correct it? So now you have indirectly or directly hit the nail at our bus stop. So what do we do? Because the theory, and people have been opposing the theory, by the way, which I've been studying, say, look, you cannot blame the victims, you cannot blame the poor people. You have to look at the structure. My question is it the structure? Is it the buildings that we need to have, or is it a mindset shift that we need to have?
It's the mindset.
So how do we get the mindset shift?
Number one, can we start prosecuting those who are stealing our money? That's why I ask of accountability. And I want you to put this on record. I am not a proponent of reforms. Anybody you hear that is preaching reform is a criminal. See, if you start punishing these people, look, we have here billions into the Ministry of Agriculture. Tell me one farm owned by the ministry. One farm with the billions of naira. We invested billions of naira into power. Tell me, can you give account of this money for the power? Where is power? Let's be honest to ourselves. Is it not our brothers and our sisters that are managing there? Are they aliens? Can we come and openly, my brother and my commissioner of agriculture, the farm will never say anything. My uncle, the governor, come and show us. Can we do that from our bedroom?
Okay.
And you are blaming the people. We are not educated. They directly impoverish us, number one. Give us limited education, number two. Frustrate our tertiary institution. See, sir, none of our universities are viable. Not one is viable in this country.
Okay, all right, Zion, thank you very much. Let's get to other callers who have been waiting for about 3 minutes now. 91.3, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Hello, good morning, Jude.
Good morning, please.
This is Augustine calling from Ufoko.
Welcome, Augustine.
Yeah, it is very interesting how Mr. Zion has, put a very big portion of the blame on the churches. I would like if, with all his confidence, he would come out boldly to mention the name of the pastors and churches directly, not allegedly. Allegedly, he should directly mention them in all his confidence that these are the people, these are the churches who have stolen members' tithes and used it rather for the things they should not be used for, instead of coming out to make allegations that he cannot prove. It's more to put him in problem one day.
So let's get to you, there. Once again, let's leave the comments, let's leave the person. Attack the comments. Yes, once again, my new phrase these days is bring your strong argument. Bring your strong argument. This person said something. All right, so that's something he said. Can we unravel it? Can we undress it? Let's do that and leave the person. PH, good morning, Jude. It is obvious that this system of governance is not working for the people of Nigeria. The only beneficiaries of this system of democracy are the brigands who have hijacked power and the resources of the nation and the state. These guys gang up and pretend to be jostling for power. Meanwhile, they are sharing and distributing our resources and are effectively impoverishing the citizens internally. We need to change the system. Abo Karibo with that comment. Thank you very much, Abo Karibo. Now, this one says, I agree. Some people actually enjoy the drama and trauma that comes with poverty. They truly can't handle things working properly because it takes personal responsibility to liberate yourselves mentally. Actually takes work. It's why some women will stay with an abusive man, but will say that a kind man whose head is correct is boring. I used to do certain assignments that required me to pretend to be poor and helpless, so I could be among certain people and determine who really needed certain types of help. I trained as an actress and have an innocent face, so nobody suspected me. Jude, being surrounded by people who actually enjoy being pitied is the hardest thing I have ever done. The energy is different, and there's a way they think, a very self-destructive, self-defeatist, the rich are wicked, the world is against us, woe is me type. It got to a point where my husband got scared and was like, please, my wife, you know I don't usually interfere with your work, but there has to be another way for you to carry out your passion. The way you are going, I'm afraid you're going to get yourself killed and to be for nothing because these people you're trying to pull up don't actually want assistance to rise. They just want attention. I had to be pulled out, and it took a while for my nervous system to re-regulate and for me to assume thinking straight. Anonymous. All right, let's move on. Now, this one here says, Jude, good morning. A fascinating theory you just shared this morning, but I have a take. I agree on one hand, particularly what the pastor said, that we have a country where mediocrity has been celebrated. On the other hand, I think the structure and a mindset reset is what we need. We don't have good roads. We don't have good power, and obviously the security has been stripped of their powers, and so they've now turned to beggars and openers and openers of doors. Oh, that's so true. Oh, that is so true. That is so true. We need both the structure and a mindset shift to lift this country out of the poverty mindset. Loathe him or like him, points have been raised. And when I say him, I'm making a reference to Sam Adeyemi, who shared this quote-unquote theory, this taste of poverty, and the originator of the theory himself. Both individuals, love or loathe them, there is a point here. And that point is, people can sometimes get so used to the circumstances, and then they become that circumstance. Tarium and other people have a point. You can't blame the people when the government haven't done anything. You can't. 017-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. 92.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning, please.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Quite an interesting theory you've posited. For me, I agree clearly with what Pastor Sam Adeyemi has talked about. The average Nigerian likes the way Nigeria is. The bad roads, the bad government. We are very comfortable. Give an average Nigerian a proper leader and give the average Nigerian a leader who would get into power, embezzle money, share the money. Guess what, Jude? They will pick the one who will embezzle the money. We saw that clearly in the last election. A government will build roads, the people will go and fill the drains with dirt and complain about flood.
Yeah, but the government did not provide waste bins and trucks to remove the trash. What do you want the people to do? Sleep with their trash?
Dude, even if the government does not provide a place for you to trash your things, is the refuse bin the next best place to trash your things? It's a mindset. I think Nigeria, before Nigeria can be good, the people need to. It's not a system. I don't blame the government, because the government is the people.
Okay.
Somebody who lived in a society who still became a leader in that same society is aliens. You understand? That's what he's trying to say. If we can get the people right, we'll get the government right.
All right, fair enough. If we can get the people right, we'll get the government Right. We're going to go to the one play draw very shortly. Let me read. This one says, hi, Joe, good morning. See, the poverty mindset is one of the worst mindsets. It's not just the absence of money. It's the absence of the willingness to create something meaningful. That's the real poverty. And that's where a lot of people are sadly stuck. Yes, the government has a huge role because the government has refused to help get the people educated. What the government fails to understand is that if more people are educated, more people will depend less. Oh, this sounds so true. If more people are educated and are working, they will depend less on the government. Why haven't I thought about this? Why haven't we thought about this? Or have we? Am I wrong here? What do I know? Anyway, moving on. The less people will depend on the government. But you see, we are in a country now where many of these religious organizations and many of these politicians have now become semi and demigods to the people. That's why you hear people keep looking for destiny helper. Oh, that's so true. Oh, that is so true. Oh, we are all praying for destiny helper, the person who will show me the way. Lord, where my name is going to be mentioned for good things, let them remember me. Now I have to ask this question. When you are praying, do you pray that God reminds you of somebody who will need lifting up? I'm only asking. I'm leaving that. That's what I'm going to end. Let's go do the one play draw so that nobody says, oh, Jude forgot. And that's how my number did not get called. Or my number was called. And then I didn't answer because I was somewhere. My destiny helpers.